So, we want to present some engineering mistakes we found the most important during enterprise development of e-commerce solutions in the cloud. And here's Michael, who is heading our Spryker cloud operations and making sure all the lights are always on.
And it's my great honor to be on the stage with Andriy, who is our very experienced senior solution architect, making the ideas of many of our customers come true during the last 8 years of his tenure at Spryker.
So, development of solutions are evolving super fast, and still engineers are doing quite simple mistakes which could be avoided when you are ready to create a plan. So without a plan, you are prone to some scalability issues. You are missing some integrations. You are forgetting about performance problems, and making these mistakes on the early stages of your project may lead to potential financial losses on the later development stages. It simply means that if you create architecture overview of your project, if you think about all integrations that are part of your application, you may avoid these mistakes as early as possible. Spryker happily provides you help in the form of SaaS service called Project Launch Guidance, where we, together with you, help you creating target architecture definition, which contains global overview of your project. We collect your functional, non-functional requirements. We collect list of your integrations, and we help you oversee global architecture, both application-wise and infrastructure in the cloud. Oh, I forgot to click the slide. And yeah, when this plan is ready,
then we will talk about a bit the next step, right? Which is to collect the requirements, and specifically the non-functional requirements, which are a bit challenging, to say the least, right? I mean, like, we usually focus on those business-related ones, how the commerce site should work, right? But there are all of those non-functional requirements that are extremely important, especially in the commerce in the cloud, right? So imagine that this thing, basically, if you forget about one of those things, can endanger your go live, right? So you need to be very due diligent about those things. Really engage all of the stakeholders that you have around to gather those things, right? And some problems that we found and that we were experiencing in the couple last years, right, is, for example, geo-presence, right? If you have your website to serve the traffic out of Europe to Australia, your latency will kill the whole user experience, right? So that's the stuff that you could avoid knowing those NFRs earlier, right? The other example of that is the data pipelines. So you test something with a smaller data set in your non-production environments, in your local environments, everything works amazing. Then you hit production and suddenly it takes ages, right? So some design like that could be avoided, taking those non-functional requirements into the account earlier. The other thing is the obvious one, performance and scalability, right? If you can predict what will be the surge in the traffic over the time, what is this performance that you would like to achieve, right? That's the stuff that also is very essential to make the right decisions during that stuff. And obviously, like, what are the solutions that we would advise you guys to go for? First of all, be due diligent around those things, right? Recollect those from all of the stakeholders that are around, from the technical guys, from the business guys, everyone, right? Understand what is your long-term vision for your commerce site, right? Collect those things as soon as possible to make them into the into some document ultimately, right? That you can really refer to, right? And then having this thing, right? You can obviously always challenge all of your decisions that you make around any feature development compared to those NFRs, if you still fulfill them. Obviously, if for whatever reason you should ask for some help, we are there to help you, and the Spryker SES services are available for that. Specifically, we talk here about product launch guidance, which help you at the very beginning of the project to collect those, as well as the business requirement deep dive to collect all of those.
And talking about next mistake, we name late performance and scalability measures. And specifically, you have to monitor your system and make sure that you know how your system performs, how your system can scale, as well as just think, okay, tomorrow we will have some discount. It will definitely attract 10 times more people. Is your system ready? Can it handle well? And in the end, like, am I able to fix these performance issues, the ones that may arise out of the blue? So our approach is install alerts. Make sure that there is a team which is keeping track, keeping eyes on this alerting system. So they are not just dying in your mailbox in the folder called performance issues. If you need help, our Spryker Academy provides several courses. I believe most of them are in solution architecture part. And yeah, our Spryker SES services are happy to help. We have quite a few, like scale-up solutions. We have volume stress test, and not mentioned here, we have also performance check. And
now pure fun, security, right? Stuff that usually is always important, right, for every single project, especially if we talk about commerce project. Obviously, there is money behind it that you would like to secure, right? But also all of the reputation, right? I think every single day you guys hear about new news, right, about some companies being breached, right? And in this case, obviously, there is a significant financial loss for a company, but even more, it's the reputation loss, right, which is the lost business basically for you. And that's something that you by any means would like to avoid. And for security, quite frankly, the only option is actually to be preventive, right? Be ahead of curve, expect those things and prevent those, right? There's part of that that obviously is on Spryker side, right? Especially if we are talking about cloud, all of the infrastructure security is with us. But with security, it's a chain, right? And this chain is as strong as the weakest point in that chain, right? So if this element breaks for whatever reason, then obviously the whole security efforts are broken. So don't leave those things definitely unattended, right? Consider that you need to implement in a secure way, right? All of this design that you do temporary just for the development usually stays there forever, right? And then it can cause trouble, right? So be due diligent around that. Employ some additional checks also in your code pipelines for that. And don't leave it by the end for the go live, right? Because that's also a problem, right? If you have as part of your go live checklist to do a pen test, for example, and these guys will come to you saying like, look, there's a couple of vulnerabilities here and there, it's already pretty late into the game, right? And that can endanger your go live, successful go live. So what we would advise here to avoid it, first of all, follow Spryker security guidelines. We have a quite good documentation around it that outlines different options, different areas that you should look at to ensure that your site is securely implemented. As said, it's not just that you pick one of those, but really look holistically. This whole thing, it's like only good if you apply it at once, right? If you only look for particular items, you possibly leave some open doors for the hackers that you would like to get into. Make sure that your product is up to date, like Vova and Mohammed showed earlier, right? Right now we have some tool to actually make it better, because all of those vulnerabilities that are out there, the hackers know them, and they know how to exploit them, right? Especially if they are published. As soon as it's published, basically everybody could exploit those, right? So the sooner you upgrade, the sooner you resolve this vulnerability, the better for you. You close just this door for those guys. And also, if you need any support from our end, our colleagues from SES are happy to help you with a service called code review that also outlines potential security flows into the code.
And you have NFRs, you have plan, everything. The next mistake you could have is cumbersome go live, essentially meaning that you really want to go live. Like you forgot about everything, you just wake up in the morning, oh guys, we have go live today, we deploy the code, we push green button, customers started coming to you. You forgot that you might have some problems, traffic mentioned already, you forgot something else. So please make sure that you have a plan. Spryker provides in documentation quite interesting and valuable checklist. So take our checklist, ask your technical and business stakeholders, enrich this checklist with your important points specific to a project, and carefully prepare, like have a week or two to make this. In case you have no experience going live with Spryker or with any other web e-commerce platform, we're happy to help you again. And our SaaS service, Go Live guidance and hypercare support is ready to help and make sure that your Go Live goes as smooth as possible. And
we told you at the beginning it's 5 biggest mistakes, but there's a bonus one. But at the same time, it's not an engineering mistake, so I think we still stick to the promise, quite frankly, right? This is something that me working in operations experience very often, right? It's a frustration from you guys reaching out to us sometimes about some delays, about your project being impacted and us not reacting quickly enough, right? So I thought it makes also a bit of sense to also talk about that stuff and also how we can help you guys with that stuff. So what we are talking here about, there's a bunch of tooling that we give to you, right? It's logs that are available out there, and you can look into those. There is APM option as well to look for some performance bottlenecks in your application yourself without really reaching out to us. For the troubleshooting itself, it's obviously a very highly demanded skill that is very highly rated by the market, obviously. And it's not easy, to be fair, right? To do a proper troubleshooting, you need to have a very deep understanding of the Spryker itself, but also from the cloud, right? Ideally of the whole thing, right? Just then you are able really to get very, very good into these details. Why I'm saying that is because sometimes you consider the symptom to be a root cause, which is not the case, right? The fact that one thing fails doesn't mean that the whole site fails because of that. There is something that possibly did cause this thing to fail, and this is the actual root cause that you need to get for. And the support cases, something that you open, obviously you need to reach out to our support every now and then because you got stuck, and that's absolutely okay. This is also why we are there. At the same time, you need to consider that while you are frustrated, and we get it, right? Those guys just know as much as you tell them, right? If you don't provide them a good introduction, like what really happens to me, like how did I got to that point, what did I did so far, those guys will ask those questions over and over again, right? Which will delay the whole thing, which obviously isn't good for you guys, right? So the better the input you give to us, the better we'll be able to serve you and help you with that challenge that you are facing. Having said that, I talked a bit about the solutions already, but obviously do a thorough troubleshooting. That's the one thing that we would definitely advise you. Check basically like all of the things that you got the access to, right? Validate the logs. If you don't need to reach out to us, this is the simplest and the quickest solution, to be fair, to your problem, right? And you will be able to get quicker to the root cause and to the resolution, right? Use all of those tools that are available to you. I specifically talk about logs because logs are usually the good thing to have. Doing the right queries can really help you and save you the day. APM is an excellent solution to understand all of the performance bottlenecks and also understanding what's really going on in your cloud application. It's not that it's a full black box that you don't have any insight into. And when you reach out to us, share really everything that you have. Be super verbose. We like it. The more you tell us, the better for us, right? The less questions we'll ask to you, and the sooner we'll get to the actual resolution of your problem, right? Good. That would be it for that.
Yeah, and to wrap it up, some takeaways from the whole conversation. So look holistically. So really leverage look holistically. So think about performance, scalability, take care about your operations team, ensure that your technical team is educated, taking different courses.
And when you did all of that, plan all of the activities well in advance. Expect that things will go wrong. There has to be some buffer for all of those activities that you have, that we have mentioned here holistically. Plan for those, add some buffer, make sure that you do them sooner than later to avoid the problems later on.
Yeah, and I'm repeating myself, saying that leverage resources, all resources in your company, in supporting companies, partners from us, from Spryker. And yeah, happy go lives.
Happy go lives, only successful go lives. We don't look for bad ones at all.